Life feels like a battle, doesn't it? Some days it's the pressure of work, expectations, and failures that never seem to end. Other days it's the fear of losing what you love, money, health, time. No matter how hard you try, there's always something out of your control pulling you down. You feel stuck, frustrated, maybe even powerless. But what if I told you that some of the most powerful men in history, men who ruled entire empires, who faced betrayal, war, and even death, had a secret, a simple principle that made them unshakable, untouchable, unstoppable? The good news? You don't need to be a king or an emperor to use it. This one rule can change how you handle stress, fear, and failure starting today. Stay with me until the end, and I promise you won't see life the same way again. Don't skip, or you'll miss the key to becoming truly unstoppable. Most people think power comes from wealth, status, or control over others, but history tells a different story. Some of the greatest rulers of all time weren't just leaders, they were masters of their own minds. They faced wars, betrayals, and crises that could break any ordinary man, yet they remained calm, focused, and in control. What made them different? It wasn't luck, it wasn't their armies. It was a way of thinking, a principle that allowed them to stand strong while others collapsed under pressure. Imagine being responsible for an entire empire. Every decision you make affects millions of lives. Every day, you are surrounded by enemies, some hiding in the shadows, others smiling to your face. You don't know who to trust, and at any moment disaster could strike. A weak mind would crumble under this weight, but Roman emperors like Marcus Aurelius didn't just survive, they thrived. While others panicked, they remained steady. While others let emotions take over, they stayed clear-headed. They understood something that most people never realize. True power is not about controlling the world. It's about controlling how you see it. This is where most people fail. They let their emotions decide their actions. They react to insults, to setbacks, to things outside their control. They let the world push them around. But emperors, the ones who stood the test of time, knew a secret. One that gave them the power to rise above everything. And this secret is based on one simple truth: nothing can harm you unless you allow it to. Here's the truth. Things don't happen to you, they just happen. It's your mind that decides whether something is good or bad, painful or powerful, a failure or an opportunity. This is the principle that made Roman emperors unstoppable: control over perception. Think about it. Two people can go through the same event, but experience it completely differently. One man loses his job and sees it as the end of his world. He panics, feels worthless, and drowns in self-pity. Another man loses his job, but sees it as a chance to grow, to start something new, to move forward. The event is the same. The difference is perception. This is the power that emperors understand. They did not allow events to shake them. They did not give their emotions the power to rule over them. They ruled their minds, and by doing that, they ruled everything else. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, faced war, betrayal, and even a deadly plague. People around him were terrified. The empire was crumbling. But did he break? No. Instead, he wrote words that would be remembered for centuries. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This was his secret. He didn't waste time complaining about things he couldn't control. He focused only on what was in his power: his thoughts, his choices, his actions. Most people today live the opposite way. They let small problems ruin their entire day. They let words from others destroy their confidence. They let fear of the future stop them from living in the present. But once you understand this principle, once you take control of how you see the world, everything changes. No event, no insult, no failure will ever have power over you again. You will no longer be a slave to circumstances. You will be in control. And this is the first step to becoming unstoppable. Imagine ruling an empire while death spreads through the streets. The Antonine Plague was one of the deadliest events in Roman history. It kills thousands every day. Cities were filled with fear. People abandoned their homes, hoping to escape. The empire was on the edge of collapse. Most rulers would have panicked. They would have looked for someone to blame. They would have let fear take over. But Marcus Aurelius, he stayed calm, not because he was blind to the danger, but because he understood one thing. Panic solves nothing. While others let fear control them, Marcus focused on what he could do. He organized resources, supported his people, and made decisions with a clear mind. He knew he couldn't stop the plague. He couldn't control life and death, but he could control how he responded. And that made all the difference. Most people in difficult situations do the opposite. They react without thinking. They let fear and frustration decide their actions. But fear only makes things worse. It clouds your mind. It makes you weak. The strongest people, the ones who rise while others fall, understand this. They don't waste time worrying about things they can't change. They put their energy into what they can control. The plague didn't break Marcus Aurelius. It proved his strength. While others saw disaster, he saw a test. And that is the mindset that makes a person truly unstoppable. Life is full of problems, but not all problems deserve your attention. The secret is knowing what is in your control and what is not. Imagine two circles. The first is small. It contains only the things you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your decisions. The second circle is much larger. It contains everything you can't control. Other people, the past, the future, the economy, the weather. The mistake most people make? They focus on the wrong circle. They stress about what others think of them. They complain about things they cannot change. They waste energy on problems that are not in their hands. And this makes them weak. It makes them anxious. It makes them victims of life. But those who understand this principle, like Marcus Aurelius, only focus on their inner circle. If something is within their control, they take action. If it's not, they let it go. This is why they remain calm in chaos. They don't get lost in emotions or fear. They don't fight battles they cannot win. They protect their energy, their mind, their focus. Think about the last time you were stressed. Were you worried about something you could control or something you couldn't? If it was something outside your power, you were wasting time. You were making yourself suffer for no reason. But once you shift your focus, once you train yourself to let go of what is out of your hands, you gain something powerful: peace. This is not just a philosophy, it's a rule for life. Every time you face a problem, ask yourself, is this in my control? If yes, act. If not, move on. The moment you do this, you take back control. And when you control your mind, nothing outside of you can ever break you. Most of the pain people feel doesn't come from reality, it comes from their minds. The Roman philosopher Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality," and he was right. Think about it. How many times have you been anxious about something that never even happened? How often do people create worst-case scenarios in their heads living in fear of things that may never come true. A man worries about losing his job before it even happens. A woman fears rejection before she even speaks. A student is terrified of failure before the test begins, but when the moment finally arrives, it is never as bad as they imagined. This is how most people live, trapped in fears that exist only in their minds. But the emperors, the thinkers, the strongest men in history understood this. They refused to suffer before it was necessary. They faced life as it was, not as they imagined it to be. When a challenge came, they met it with logic, not panic. They prepared, they adapted, and they focused on what was real. The truth is, most of your fears are just thoughts. They have no power unless you give it to them. The next time you catch yourself worrying about something that hasn't happened yet, stop. Ask yourself, is this real, or is this just my imagination creating fear? Most of the time, you will realize the only thing hurting you is your own mind, and the moment you understand this, you become free. The world today tells people that success means money, power, or fame. But the greatest minds in history believed something different. They believed that true strength comes from virtue, from the way you live, not what you own. And in Stoicism, there are 4 main virtues that shape an unshakable person: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. First, wisdom. This is the ability to see things clearly, to know what truly matters. Most people react to life without thinking. They follow their emotions. They chase things that don't bring real happiness. But wisdom means understanding what is important and what is not. It means knowing where to put your energy. Second, courage. Not just physical bravery, but the courage to do what is right, even when it's hard. Most people avoid challenges. They stay where it's comfortable. But a strong mind doesn't run from difficulty. It faces fear and moves forward. Third, justice. This means living with honor, treating others fairly, and standing by your principles. A man without justice is weak. He is easily controlled by greed, anger, or pride. But a man with justice cannot be shaken. He does what is right, no matter the cost. Last, temperance. This is self-restraint, the ability to stay balanced, to not be controlled by pleasure, pain, or desires. Most people are slaves to their emotions. They chase pleasure, avoid discomfort, and let the outside world control their happiness. But a Stoic remains steady. He does not let pleasure make him weak or pain make him afraid. These 4 virtues are what made Roman emperors powerful. They did not seek strength in wealth or power, but in character. And when you build your life on these principles, nothing can break you. You become strong, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. Most people live as if they will never die. They waste time, they hold grudges, they put off what matters, they act as if they have endless tomorrows. But the truth is, life is short, and the Stoics knew this better than anyone. They had a simple reminder to keep them focused: memento mori. It means, remember that you will die. To some this sounds dark, but in reality it is the key to living fully. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, wrote to himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He knew that every day could be his last, and so he made sure to live with purpose. He did not waste time on anger, on meaningless worries, or on chasing things that didn't matter. He focused on what was truly important: his actions, his character, his impact. Most people are afraid to think about death. They avoid the thought of it. But ignoring death does not stop it from coming. And when people live in denial, they take life for granted. But the moment you accept that time is limited, everything changes. You stop waiting for the right moment to do what matters. You stop holding back your words, your love, your effort. You stop wasting time on things that don't make you better. Memento mori is not about fear. It is about urgency. It is about making every second count. Because when you truly understand that your time is limited, you finally start living. There is a simple truth that many people never learn. Peace does not come from the world around you. It comes from inside you. Most people spend their lives trying to change everything outside of them. They try to control people, events, and outcomes. But the more they try to control, the more frustrated they become. Because life is unpredictable, it will never go exactly as you want. And the Stoics knew this. That is why they practiced the most powerful skill of all, acceptance. Acceptance does not mean weakness. It does not mean giving up. It means understanding reality and choosing to remain calm. It means letting go of what is out of your hands. When something bad happens, most people ask, "Why me?" They resist, they complain, they fight against what already is. But the Stoic asks, how can I respond to this with strength? Instead of wishing for a different reality, they accept the present moment and focus on what they can do. This is what made the great emperors different. When war broke out, they did not waste energy being angry at the enemy. They focused on strategy. When betrayal came, they did not drown in resentment. They adjusted and moved forward. When loss happened, they did not let grief consume them. They accepted it as part of life. Most people search for peace in money and success, in the approval of others, but those things can disappear in an instant. True peace comes from within, from the ability to let go of what you cannot change and focus only on what is in your power. When you master this, nothing outside of you can ever control your mind again, and that is true freedom. Life will always be unpredictable. There will always be challenges, setbacks, and moments of pain. But the difference between those who struggle and those who thrive is not luck, it is mindset. The greatest emperors, the strongest minds in history, all followed one simple rule: control what you can, accept what you cannot. When you stop wasting energy on things outside your control, you become unshakable. No insult, no failure, no fear can break you. You are in charge of your own mind, and that is the greatest power anyone can have. If this video helped you see things differently, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have faced struggles, if you have a story to tell, leave it in the comments. Your journey might help someone else. Remember, strength is not about what happens to you, it's about how you choose to respond. Stay strong, stay focused, and keep moving forward.